My name's Christie Whelan Browne and I'm an actor pretending to be a writer reading this to you tonight. I admit I always dreamed of going to New York. You see, some of my very best friends in the world lived there. Jerry, Kramer, George and Elaine. Not to mention Rachel and Ross, Carrie and Miranda. I lived so deeply in New York City through my television screen. I spent a couple of years from age 19 to 21 with chronic fatigue syndrome. Shitty time of your life to be housebound because all your friends are in their prime, ready to go, unable to slow down and wait for you to rebuild an immune system. It was a lonely time in my life, but I spent my days with those guys in the screen. They made me laugh, brought me comfort. They taught me about friendship, about dating, love, pain. They taught me how to be funny. Truly, I never went to acting school, and I know that everything I learned that took me into a 12-year career in comedy acting was from those shows. When I think back, they were the reason I yearned so deeply for New York City. The fact that I was a musical theatre actor would make you think I dreamed of Broadway, the Great White Way, winning a Tony Award and having supper with Bernadette Peters. But in truth, I wanted to go to Monk's Cafe, Magnolia Bakery and Monica's apartment building exterior. I wanted to be near my friends inside that little box in the corner of the room that all the furniture is pointed at. My husband Rowan had also dreamed of going. Ro is what you would call a life enthusiast. He has energy to burn, that guy. Me, not so much. We planned our trip for when we were both coming out of the end of long musical contracts. We did the obligatory, hey guys, heading to New York City, whoop whoop. Anyone got any accom recommendations? Greatly appreciated, kiss kiss, prayer hands emoji, Facebook status. Right away, a message from a friend of ours. Hey guys, I know a guy. He lives in a doorman building on the Upper West Side. He loves Aussie artists. He'll know who you are. I'll put you in contact. Within days, we were on an email chain with the man with the fabulous apartment. And he said the words that make you happier than Rachel when she got the job at Bloomingdale's. I'll be away for the dates you are here and you can stay at my place for free. Now, if you've ever had to pay for accommodation in NYC, you know why this is such a big deal. That shit be expensive. Boom, it was all falling into place. There was just one thing I didn't take into account, that at the end of this work contract, I was exhausted. I had a bad back injury and the job had left me broken. I needed 2 weeks off in Bali sipping on bintang and eating nasi goreng for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And instead we were heading to below zero temperatures and Rowan had made it clear to me that we were going to go hard. Gulp. I remember driving over the bridge and seeing Manhattan for the first time with my own eyeballs. I cried. Is that sad? It was just so exciting. I'd made it to New York City, whatever that means. We got to our accom, a small one-bedder, one-bathroom. It was perfect for us. Dumped the bags and went direct to the streets. This was the first night and it was already 10:30 p.m. Seemed a bit late for me to be heading out, but Rowan was as fired up as Carrie when Mr. Big dumped her and moved to France, but in a happier way. We went and met friends for dinner and made our way to Times Square. Coat, scarf, beanie, thick socks and boots. I was still freezing. Rowan seemed to have an inbuilt heater in his pants because he was as comfortable as could be. Times Square was amazing and cool and futuristic. It had this special vibe about it. A buzz that I would say I'd never felt in Oz, but I suppose you could equate it to a footy game at the MCG when there's a crowd of 80,000. We wandered around, took some pics, had a drink at a bar. 1:30 a.m. Our friends depart for bed and I look to husband. Want to go for a walk? He asks. 1:30 a.m, a walk? But I can sense his exuberance. He'd made it to the city that never sleeps and by God, he wasn't planning on sleeping anytime soon. Sure, I say, trying to be a good sport. Half an hour we got before I asked if I could get in a cab and go home. The next morning, he's up. Boom, eyes open. What do you want to do today? I'm still tired from the night before. Lucky I didn't have to have a plan because he had one. We'd walk to Central Park, go for a wander down, see the ice skating rink, head to the top of the rock, meet a friend in Soho where I could go to Magnolia Bakery, see the Friends building and Carrie's apartment building exterior all in one go, ride the subway to 42nd Street, go out for dinner, hit a Broadway show and then grab a drink at a jazz bar after. Did I mention we were staying for 3 weeks? This was day 1. So the pace was set, and after 12 hours, I knew I couldn't keep up. After a week of pounding the pavement, that cold wind punching me in the ears and forcing me to wear the $5 earmuffs they sell at the subway. I looked nothing like Carrie when she wore them in season 6. Copious comments from Rowan like, it doesn't even matter that your feet are wet, does it? You don't even really notice. And reluctantly asking me if I needed a rest, like I was his grandma holding him back. Surely we had seen this entire city. I started to crumble. I mean, it was amazing, but all I wanted to do was stay inside in bed and invent Uber Eats so I didn't have to leave. Then we get the message, incoming from our very generous landlord. Hey guys, something's come up and I'm coming home. Don't leave. I insist you stay at my place. I'll sleep on the sofa. See you tomorrow. Okay. Suddenly the apartment seemed like the size of a shoebox, and sharing it with a stranger filled me with anxiety. Listen, he was a very nice man. I don't want to sound ungrateful. How generous to open your home to strangers for nothing. It was incredibly kind. But he was kind of hard work, let's put it that way. He was one of those, do you know this person people? Do you know this person? Do you know this person? And then if you said yes or no, he'd go into how he knew them, and that was all he had to talk about, people who we may or may not have known. Of course, we didn't allow him to stay on the sofa. We stayed on there. Did I mention I had a bad back? But the main issue was the only bathroom in the place was an ensuite off his bedroom. So as I cuddled up for the first night on the sofa bed with only one blanket to share between us, I knew I wouldn't make it through the night without needing to wee. Of course, 3 a.m, my eyes are wide open. I contemplate my options. Shy of a bottle or the kitchen sink, I had to go into this sleeping stranger's bedroom. I open his door as quietly as I can. His head pops up. Sorry, I whisper. I turn on the light in the ensuite, get in as fast as I can. Here's the part where I tell you about my severe stage fright on the toilet. If anyone can hear me, I cannot go. It's a sickness. I need full privacy. I knew I'd woken him up, so now I knew he could hear me. I was contorting myself as I sat on that bowl to try and create a silent stream. Once I had managed that, came the real dilemma, to flush or not to flush. I've always lived in a if it's yellow, let it mellow kind of household. But also a flush at 3 a.m. felt so loud and obnoxious. Finally, I went the flush. It was the lesser evil. Turned off the light, snuck back past his bed and back onto the sofa. By now, Rowan had wrapped himself in that one blanket like Joey when he put on every item of Chandler's clothes. I was freezing, and as soon as I lay down, I needed to wee again. I knew it was in my head, but it didn't help the problem. I didn't sleep a wink. But like clockwork, the next morning, Rowan woke up and uttered those magic words, "What do you want to do today?" I could have divorced him on the spot. But we had to leave the house because our new roomie works from home. So out we go. The freezing wind punches me in the face and we head to Starbucks for a morning coffee. Blasphemy. We decide that we can't keep this living arrangement up. We book a few nights in Brooklyn on an Airbnb. Best $1,000 I ever spent. We had a wonderful 3-night escape over the bridge, and refreshed, we thought, we can last on that sofa, we'll be fine, it's fine. We arrived back to the city and we offered to take generous host/hard work out for dinner and a show to say thanks. And in turn, he offered to take us out on a day trip in his car. I mean, sure. Bear Mountain, he told us it was called. We thought that meant B-E-A-R, but after driving for an hour and a half and arriving, it was more like B-A-R-E. We stood there for 10 minutes in the freezing cold. I wondered if there was a hiking track or a visitor's centre. No. So we just got back in the car and drove back to New York. I pretended to be asleep for pretty much the whole journey. And I would hear our host say, I think she's asleep. And Rowan would turn around and catch me with one eye open. Just he knew I was avoiding this, do you know this person conversation. A few times, we stop off for lunch and Rowan's giving me the stink eye. He's clearly not happy that I've left all the travel chat to him while I fake snoozed. After lunch, Generous Hard Work said, "My aunt lives just around the corner from here. She's 92. Let's drop in and say a quick hello." So we pull into a retirement home and head to her room. As he's about to open the door, he says, "She has terrible Alzheimer's." We both nod. We go in, he greets her hello, introduces us and says, "I have to go to the bathroom." He was in there, no joke, for 20 minutes. We're alone in a room with a woman who has no idea who we are, and even if she did know who we are, would have no idea who we are. I could tell we were confusing her. Rowan, ever so generous, asks her how Thanksgiving was. "Were you there?" she asks. No, we weren't there." She begins to cry. "Martin! Where's Martin?" We were looking to that bathroom door, but he wasn't coming back anytime soon. I went over to comfort her and she said, "Amy, you've changed. You used to be pretty." And at this point, I realized that I am in my very own Seinfeld episode. Finally, whatever was happening in that bathroom came to an end, and he came out and literally was like, "Bye, Auntie." I think he just stopped there to take a massive dump. We took him to dinner and the show. We tried so hard to be generous, but 8 hours into our day with this man, we were both flailing. Rowan, as ever, was doing better than me. I'd pulled my beanie down over my entire face so nobody would talk to me. We get home at 11 p.m. and I can sense husband not happy with me. We said we needed to go to the store, and as soon as we get outside into the light snow, Rowan erupts. He tells me he's at breaking point. This isn't the trip we had planned. I'd been selfish and just zoned out and left the whole conversation up to him. Guilty. Bear Mountain had been a waste of time and he'd made a 92-year-old woman cry. We wanted out. We bought a bottle of Fireball, aka cinnamon bourbon, and drank it from the bottle on the street. Great. Definitely need a midnight wee after this, I thought. We decided to go back upstairs and find some new accom and just move out. This wasn't worth it. We searched Airbnb, any long-term sublets, hotel deals. For absolute dumps, we were looking into the thousands for a 2-week stay. We looked at each other. It's not so bad. It's quite good here. I like it. The sofa's really comfortable, and think about how good my bladder control will be. So I suppose you could say New York lived up to its hype. I was in my own episode of Seinfeld. I learned firsthand that Monica's huge 2-bedroom rent-controlled apartment was a complete load of crap. And now I've written this piece for you this evening, making me feel like Carrie Bradshaw. So perhaps all my New York dreams did in fact come true. Thank you.
Visit wheelercentre.com for the best in books, writing and ideas from Melbourne, Australia and the world.